Do you want to get together? Sure. Didn't know it was about business. I haven't seen them in 10 years, and they're friends of mine. And so we met out on Coronado Island. We had lunch at the Dell. What is that?
Hotel Del.
Oh, yeah, Hotel Del. We met there, we had lunch, and he was already planning to do this, but he didn't tell me. We had lunch, we talked for an hour and a half. We were walking out, we were standing by the Starbucks in the hotel, and he said, would you get with my wife Molly on Wednesday night and tell her about the business? So I got with both of them over the phone. We showed them the business over the phone. They signed up, and they signed up Darla.
Oh.
And see how that works? That's leverage. Now, I did not know Darla. I had never heard her name. She comes into the business, she goes senior manager in one day. She makes a lot of money her first month in the business, and she's building an unbelievable team, but that's leverage. See, Darla is better at the business in many ways than I am. But you don't have to be good, you have to consistently do it and have some success. You find good people, that's the leverage that comes with it. But why did that happen? Because I sent Scott and Molly cards for 10 years. Now, it doesn't take 10 years for everybody. Some people sign up on the spot, like Philip Quartus. So I meet Philip, we get together at Starbucks, we put the app on his phone. He's 30 years old, and I'm trying to coach him through sending a card on the app. And he's getting frustrated because he's like way ahead of me. He's sending the card before I could even coach him. He doesn't want any help. He's like, boom, 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 send. I'm not kidding you. And he said, when we're done, after I showed him the video, he said, let's sign up, let's do it. That was last week, on the spot. Scott and Molly, it took him 10 years to sign up. He signed up on the spot. Jimmy Rios. Jimmy Rios is a New York City police officer. I met him back in 2008. 2008. Showed him the business. Never heard from him again. Forgot his name. Didn't remember who he was. Didn't remember the guy. But I knew I met him because when he called me, it popped up on my phone. His name popped up on my phone, so I must have put him in my phone at some point. And he left a message, and I texted him, and he sent me an email because I needed a little refresher. Who is this guy? I didn't have any notes in my contact manager. I showed him the business in 2008. I'd sent him 2 cards a year. He's in groups. He's in a group. Like, I just put him in a group, and I call the group potential distributors. So everybody I show the business to that doesn't become a distributor, that's interested, they don't sign up, or they don't become a customer, they go into my potential distributor group. And then once or twice a year, I send them a card. And I'll show you some examples of cards that I send, but it doesn't even, it's like if you see a really great quote on Facebook, you put it on a picture and put it on a card and send them that. It's just a little demonstration that you're thinking of them, right? So I'd sent him 2 cards a year since 2008. That's 8 years ago. I've been sending Jimmy Rios cards. And the reason he was calling me is he says, and he's a New York City police officer. The reason he's calling me, he says, I'm getting ready to retire and I think I want to do SendOutCards in my retirement. There you go. Anika Bell. Anika Bell, I remember showing her the business, and it was 2 years ago. On July 6th, 2 years ago, I didn't remember the date. She reminded me of the date. And she was another one. Out of the blue, last week, I got a call. Now the story I'm telling you right now is a demonstration of the power of the system in any business. See, today, I'm sending out anywhere from 3 to 10 cards a day to the people in my contact manager that I've built up over a period of 10 years. Any business owner can do that. People do business with you because they like you, they trust you, and they remember you. You think Jimmy Rios would have called me 10 years later, or 8 years later, if I hadn't sent him cards? He wouldn't even have remembered me. That's the power of the system in any business. That was Anika Bell. Last week, now I don't know that I've ever done this in my history in SendOutCards. Last week I signed up 6 distributors personally in 8 days. And 4 of them were people that I showed the business to a long time ago, that the only reason they contacted me is because they've been getting cards from me every year. I didn't even know I was sending them cards. When I say that, I mean, I knew I was sending cards, but they're in groups. I send cards to groups of people in the form of a campaign a couple times a year. They're in a particular group. I pull up that group and hit them. Here's what you're going to find out. Even if you're a really bad card writer, twice a year, you're going to wake up in the middle of the night all excited because you got this really great idea for a card. Even if you're a really bad card writer, twice a year, you're going to wake up with this unbelievable card idea, and you're going to write it down, or you're going to get up and you're going to create the card and save it, and that's the card you'll end up sending to those groups. Like, my cards are good. They're not great. There's people that make way better cards than I are, but they're good enough that I come up that they're good enough. And it's really not about how good the card is. In fact, write this down if you're taking notes. Personal always wins over creative. Personal always wins over creative. There's people that make really creative cards that make people go, wow, this is a great card, but it doesn't really move people. So the thing that moves people is when you're touching them emotionally in a positive way. That's what moves people. Right? Like, you heard Luba's story. Did you hear everybody in the room's like bawling their eyes out when Luba's telling her story? That's not creative, that's personal. It moves people. So I want to share a story about my father. I lost my dad 2 years ago in December, and he used to go every morning for 20 years. He'd go to Dunkin' Donuts in the morning. He'd buy his newspaper and his coffee, and he'd sit, and he had friends there. And every morning for the last 20 years, he'd go to Dunkin' Donuts, and that's what he did. My mother had Alzheimer's, and she was doing very bad. It had been 8 years, and she was really sliding back really fast, and we knew we weren't going to have her around much longer. And they were in Chicago, and my dad would go visit my mom in the hospital in her final days, and he was there every day. And it was the last year of her life, because I'm sure many of you experienced this, it was a very, very hard year for my father and for us. And I was on stage at our convention, and there were a few thousand people at the convention, and it hit me while I was on stage. I hadn't thought of it in advance, but it hit me when I was on stage that it would be my dad's 80th birthday is coming up. He's going through a real tough time, and it would be really nice if my dad got a lot of birthday cards to help him get through this tough time. So I told the crowd, I said, my dad's 80th birthday is coming up. My mother's not doing well. He's been in the hospital with her every day. And if you would like to send him a birthday card, I'll throw my assistant's address up on the screen, and you can send my dad a card through her, and he'll get them all on his birthday. And I said, oh, by the way, he loves Dunkin' Donuts. So we had a Dunkin' Donuts gift card in the system at the time. I don't think that card, so we replaced it with some other cards, but we had that card. And so the cards started rolling in from all over the world, from Singapore, from the United Kingdom, from Canada, from the United States. My dad got 1,000 birthday cards with pictures, and Megan, my assistant, had a Bed Bath & Beyond box. So she put all the cards into this Bed Bath & Beyond box. I took them back to Chicago, sat with my dad, we videotaped it, sat the box down, and my dad, my mom had been gone for a while, or my mom had been gone as far as not being able to do stuff around the house, and she used to do all the housework stuff. And my dad had this box, and it was from Bed Bath & Beyond, and he just assumed that it was like bed sheets. He's like really excited because he got new bed sheets. And so he opens it up, and he pulls a card out, and he opens it, he sees it's to him. And he's like, oh, this is nice. And he pulls another one. There's another one, and it's got a Dunkin' Donuts gift card in it. He goes, is this for me? And I said, yeah. He opens another one. He goes, are these all for me? I go, yeah. He opened up 20 to 30 cards a day for the next 2 months. He got 600 $5 to $10 Dunkin' Donuts gift cards. He got $5,000 worth of Dunkin' Donuts gift cards. He did not. My father did not pay for Dunkin' Donuts for the rest of his life. He was giving them to his friends at Dunkin' Donuts. He would give them to the police officers, and he'd give them to the firemen, and he'd give them to the homeless people, and then he'd go into Dunkin' Donuts and pass them out at the Dunkin' Donuts. I thought they were going to run a personal, an investigation on him or something. Like, where's this guy getting all these free Dunkin' Donuts cards, But yeah, it was really cool. So that's the power of what we have, and not just business, but there's a personal aspect, as you've heard today, and then there's also the business aspect, which is like, I don't know, anybody who uses this for a short period of time, the way it's designed, it will completely change their life and impact their life. There's 3 things that I learned. If you want to write these down, these are probably the 3 most powerful things that any person can do, from my perspective, that will completely transform their business. In fact, I can't make any claims around this, only to say that from my observation, the people that do all these 3 things, and they're very, very simple. The people that do all these 3 things, they can multiply their group, they can multiply their results by 10 for each thing that they do. So the 3 things, I'll give them to you up front, then I'm going to talk about them each for a minute. The first one is meeting more people. And Darla touched on this very effectively. The people that have the biggest Rolodex, they're always the people that have the most successful businesses. They make the most money. Harvey Mackay, in his book, Swim with the Sharks Without Getting Eaten Alive, said if you want to predict the future of someone's income, look at the size of their Rolodex. Do you 2 know what a Rolodex is? No, I don't think so. It's hilarious. If somebody's under 30, they don't know what a Rolodex is. It's not an expensive watch. Do you know what a Rolodex is? Do either of you? Either of you? No? Do you? No? Yeah. A Rolodex, have you ever seen those antique things that you put business cards in them and they're like on a spool? You ever seen that? No? But no. It was like on a spool and you put business cards in it and you spin it around so where you store your business cards, right? But today it's all in our phones and right? So we don't have those anymore. You can get them at the thrift store if you want one. So anyway, but Harvey Mackay in his book, the concept hasn't changed. If you want to predict the future of someone's income, look at the size of their Rolodex. The people when I was your guys' age, I read that, and it totally changed my life because what I started doing is I started meeting more people. And because I wanted to be one of those people that had a lot of money and that had a lifestyle. When I was really young, I read a book that made me want that. So meeting more people, that's the first thing. Somebody who's in business, any business, if they just consciously, intentionally say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to meet and connect with more people. That's the first thing. That will multiply their success by 10 times. If they do that intentionally every day. Like, for example, every day I'm going to meet 3 new people. Right? It makes sense, doesn't it? Second one is connecting people. It's one of the most powerful things a business person can do. When you take 2 great people and put them together, magic happens. I've got so many stories about this, and I learned this. So here, if you take 2 dots and you put them on a paper, and this is not a trick question. You take 2 dots and you put them on a paper, how many connections are there between those 2 dots? One connection, right? Just one connection between those 2 dots. So before I get into this, I'll tell you just a quick story. So, and I've got 50 stories like this. I can tell them to you all day long, to the point where you'd be bored with them. But I thought of this guy day before yesterday that I hadn't talked to in 3 years. His name's Stephen Rachel. And with this new program that we just came out with, the app, I thought this would be really exciting for him based on what he does. And we'll get into that in a few minutes, is the type of business. I think it would be really great for him. So I hadn't thought of him in 3 years, and he popped into my mind, and I'm driving to go meet a friend for coffee that morning. And while I was driving, I called him, and I said, Stephen, it's Jordan. How you doing? Hey, Jordan, I haven't talked to you in a long time. Yeah, I know. Man, I got some ideas I want to run by you. That's why I called, but how are things going? And he gives me a little update on his life, and we talk, and I tell him the idea. I get to the coffee place. I said, Stephen, I got to go because I'm just pulling into the coffee place. He said, great. I go into the coffee place. Maria's there. And right before we're going to order coffee, this guy walks over to me, tall black guy, good-looking guy, and he says, Jordan Adler? And I go, yeah. He goes, I've been following you for 7 years. I love your book. I teach it to all my people. I go, wow, thanks. And I said, what's your name? He's Ken. Ken, that's really nice. Nice to meet you. He's with his wife, LaDonna. he says to the girl behind the counter, he said, would you buy his coffee? And it was his daughter behind the counter. So she picks up my coffee and Maria's coffee, and we go and sit down. And then I give him a copy of my audiobook because he didn't have that, and we left. I get a message from him. We changed numbers. I get a message from him. He says, Jordan. He goes, I just called my friend Steve and Rachel to let him know that I ran into you at the coffee place. He's one of my best friends in the world. Now, did you hear what happened? Yeah. I'm talking to Steve and Rachel driving there. I get to the coffee shop. I walk into the coffee shop. I meet this guy Ken randomly. And then after I leave, he calls his friend Steve and Rachel, the guy that I was talking to tell him that he just met Jordan Adler. That's just crazy. Now, there's no real great implication in that, other than I have now a guy that I can contact about the business, right? I'm gonna obviously contact Ken and talk to him about the service that we have to use for his business. But here's the point: what's the second one? Connecting people. That stuff happened to me every day. That what I just explained to you. Some of you in this room, it happens to you all the time, and I bet for those of you that it doesn't happen to, if you were to compare your Rolodex or compare your list, the people that have a big Rolodex, that happens to them all the time. That kind of stuff. When you put 2 dots on a paper, there's only one connection between the dots. But if you put a third dot on the paper, or a third dot on the paper, now you've got 3 dots and 3 connections. So you went from 2 dots and 1 connection to 3 dots and 3 connections. But if you add a fourth, 1, 2, 3, 4, how many connections? 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 connections. So you went from 3 dots and 3 connections to 1 more dot, 6 connections. Doubled the number of connections. Did you see that? Yeah. Now this is why people that connect people are more successful. If you had 5 dots, there's 10 connections. So you have 4 dots, 6 connections, 5 dots, 10 connections. Every time you add a dot, you exponentially increase the number of possible connections between those people. The people that have the biggest opportunities are the people that are connected to more people. And when you take people in your network and you connect them to each other, magic happens. You become the hero when you connect great people in your life. So when you look for great people and put them together, so that's one of the most powerful things you can do. And that's another reason why SendOutCards is so powerful. What did Luma do? I've never heard of that strategy before, but she sent a card from the husband to the wife, and then she sent a card from the wife to the husband. What did she do? She created a connection, a reconnection, right? It was a perfect example of what I'm talking about here. The third one is appreciating people. Appreciating people. Most people, if you ask them, do you appreciate people? Yeah, I appreciate people in my head. They don't say that, but that's really what it is. I appreciate people in my head. What it really comes down to, what if somebody were to intentionally, every day, like consciously, intentionally appreciate people? What I do today that I didn't do before because of SendOutCards is I appreciate 10 people a day in the form of a card, and I send it out. 5 to 10 people a day, 3 to 10 people a day, or 1 person a day, or 8 people today. You'll see in a minute. I'm going to show you in a little bit. I'm going to show you some of the cards I sent the last 3 days. 3 days I've sent 25 cards in the last 3 days, of which 4 of them were to me because I appreciate me. No, that's not why. No. I did send 4 of them to me because I needed some card examples. I needed some that I'm going to be using for a presentation. It wasn't because I was appreciating me. That wasn't why. But I sent 21 cards in the last 3 days to other people to appreciate them consciously, intentionally. Do you think that makes a difference? Over time, if you consciously, intentionally appreciate 3 people a day for the next year, do you think that will make a difference in your life? Do you think it'll make the difference in a lot of other people's lives? Absolutely. So that will exponentially, over time, increase somebody's business. So when you consciously, intentionally meet more people, you consciously, intentionally connect more people, and you consciously, intentionally appreciate more people, that will have an effect on someone's business for like nothing in terms of cost compared to what they're spending on business. I don't know if there's anything that they can do that would have more positive impact on their business than doing those 3 things. Okay, would you agree? Yeah. It's powerful. So I want to share that with you, and So I read a book that I picked up at a garage sale when I was in my 20s called The 10 Napkin Presentations. I got it for $0.25. And that book had more positive impact on my financial career than my 4-year college education that cost 60 grand. That one book that I bought at a garage sale for 25 cents. Because it caused me to shift my focus from linear income to leveraged income, from linear income to passive income or residual income. So if you can imagine a fly buzzing against your window in your home, inside your home. Have you ever seen a fly on the window? A fly ever get in your house? Raise your hand. Ever in your life? Okay. What does the fly do? The fly flies to the window, right? And what is the fly trying to do? It's trying to get out. What's going to happen to the fly? It's going to die right on the windowsill. How many of you, I'll be honest, how many of you have seen a dead fly on a windowsill? You all know the story of that fly. And that fly struggled to succeed, to escape from that window, which it will never, ever, ever be able to do, but it thought it was a good idea. 10 feet away, there was a wide open door. Wide open. The fly could just shift his attention a little bit, and it could effortlessly fly to freedom. Effortlessly. One direction leads to certain death. The other direction is effortless and leads to freedom. And that's what most of us do in our lives. And that's what I saw, for some reason, who knows why, when I was in my 20s, I saw that. I could see the struggle of all the people around me that were working jobs. I didn't even know entrepreneurs. I didn't even know what an entrepreneur was. I didn't grow up in an environment where entrepreneurs existed. The home that my father, the day my dad passed away, and we were going to sell his home, that when all that happened and we were like trying to figure out all the stuff that we needed to do, I put his home on the market. It wasn't in foreclosure. It wasn't a repo. My dad's home sold for $10,000. That's the home I grew up in Park Forest, Illinois. 10 grand. That was the house that I grew up in for 21 years of my life. So I didn't grow up like with a lot of money. But I watched all these people, and including my father, the struggle that they were in all the time, always behind the 8 ball, trying to make things work on not enough money. But when I started reading books early on when I was young, I realized there was a whole nother world out there. And then I thought, the fly, that little, this is what we do. Write a better resume, get a better job, get a better job, write a better resume, write a better resume, stress out, die. That's our life. Or if we have a traditional business, it's the same thing. I mean, how many of you know somebody that has a traditional business? Or it might be you. Just like running so hard, always behind the 8 ball. Always it's like running and running and running and running and running, exhausted at the end of the day. And then let's do it again tomorrow and the next day. And if we own our own business, it's Saturday and Sunday too. It's a struggle to find time with our families. When you're in a traditional business where you're trading time for money, it's the same game. So I know Darla talked a lot about this, but I saw this, I read this book, and I shifted my focus. It's just a shift in focus, just like the fly. It's like, what are you going to spend your time on? So I heard about SendOutCards 10 years ago. 11 years ago, I started getting cards in the mail from a guy I didn't know. Some of the cards had a DVD in them. We don't use DVDs anymore too much. I mean, they're not even making computers with DVDs anymore, and all the cars coming off of production lines don't have DVDs. But I got a couple DVDs from this guy that I didn't know. I popped one in, I watched it, and I thought, just like I understood the concept of meeting people, connecting people, and appreciating people, when I watched that DVD, I'm like, I need this system. So I contacted him. He coached me through sending a card to my mother. When I hit the send button, I said, I don't care how much it costs. What do I need to do? He says, do you want to be a distributor? I said, I'm not going to build a business, but I'll be a distributor just in case I run across people over the course of the year that might want to do it. And I signed up with him, $745 to be a distributor back then. I signed up, and I sent out in my first 2 days on dial-up, and I was living in the mountains. I sent out dial-up. I sent out 81 cards in my first 2 days on dial-up. And that was the day, I'm not exaggerating on this, this is the way it worked. If you wanted to upload, you could put a little picture on the inside of the card. Nothing on the outside of the card, no fancy graphics, none of that. There were no apps, there were no smartphones. I mean, I had a little Sony Vaio. You would hit upload on a picture to put a little picture on the side of the card. You'd hit upload on a picture, you'd go in the kitchen, make a sandwich, eat the sandwich, and right about the time you come back, that picture would pop up in there. But I sent out 81 cards in my first 2 days, and then I sent out 400 cards in my first month. I had business cards that I collected from people over the years, just to reconnect with people. We'll get into what we say in the cards a little bit, but my phone started ringing 3-4 days later. I go, what do you think of this idea? You go online, you pick a card, you type in a message, you can send thank you, you can say happy birthday, you can say get well soon, hit the send button, the company will print it, stuff it, seal it, stamp it, and send it for you all for about $1. Our prices haven't gone up in 10 years. What do you think about that idea? And they'd say, I like that. 1 out of 4 people said I want to do it, and 2 out of 4 people said I want to do it, or I think I might want to do it, and the other ones thought it was a great idea. They didn't, but I've never had anything where everybody thought it was a great idea. And so by my 5th week, I was showing it to 5 to 8 people a day, every day, and today it's so easy now that with the app, it's so easy to give it. If you could say, you know what, no matter what, I'm going to load the app on 3 to 5 people's phones a day, I'm going to tell you right now, I can't guarantee you what your future will look like, but I'll tell you it's going to be really bright 6 months from now. It's going to go like this. Your future is going to go like this, with the growth of your business as a result of that. It was not that easy back when I got started, but I was showing it 5 to 8 times a day. I was tied to my phone, my home phone, you know, and because I had a cell phone, but I wasn't using it that much. Had my computer and my phone, and I felt like that was freedom. Freedom is like, today I can run my business, everything from this. You know, in the early days of my network marketing career, I was so excited because everywhere there was a payphone, that was my office. I was excited because I could work my business from anywhere that there was a payphone. And I would travel around the country and there'd be a payphone. I mean, there were times where I was standing, I'm not in a blizzard on the payphone, thinking, wow, this is the life, you know? But today, no, truly, if anywhere in the world there's a beach that has internet or has a phone signal, you can run your business off this. And that just gets me so excited that I'm alive to be able to experience that, you know? I think it's really cool. So I started showing the business 3 to 5 times a day. Started by my 5th week, I was signing up 1 person a day. I signed up 38 people in my second 5 weeks in the business, and my business just exploded. Just exploded. And the internet has changed things significantly. Smartphones have changed things significantly, as you know. And what I want to do is I want to talk about SendOutCards for a little while. And I want to talk about the process of showing the business and how easy it is today. And most of you, raise your hand if you have the SendOutCards app on your phone right now. Raise your hand. Okay, just if you don't have the SendOutCards app on your phone, raise your hand. If you don't have it on your phone. Okay, cool. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I want to share with you, you might want to take notes on some of this stuff. So everybody I explained last week, that's all I would do with them, very simply, is I'd say, what kind of smartphone do you have? And they'd see either Android or iPhone. That's what they say. And I say, have you ever loaded an app on your phone? And they say, yeah. So I want you to put an app on your phone. Find SendOutCards, one word. So they go to the App Store or they go to the Google Play Store and they download the app. So once the app is on the phone, I'm going to have them click the button on there, and you'll all get a chance to see this. And click the button on there that says send a free card. So they load the app. And by the way, now some of you in the room are like my age, a little older. Some of you are young. For the younger people, they don't need to be trained to this stuff. It's just what they do. And when I say younger people, I'm talking 45 or under. They don't need to be trained. I don't need to be trained on it. It's baffling to me, like that. It's baffling, but if you are over 45 years old, you need a manual. Like, where's the training manual? I need a manual, right? If you're 35 to 45 years old, you go and you find the videos online, right? But if you're under 35 years old, it's just like boom, 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 boom. You don't need it. It's just this way it is. There's no instruction manual for most of this stuff. It's intuitive. What do I want to do? I want to create a card, so what button should I click? Maybe I should click the create a card button. I want to send a card. This is confusing. What should I do? Hit the send the card button. I want to add a picture to this card. How do I do that? Maybe I should tap where it says your photo here. Anyway, so you have them click the button that says send a free card, and then you're going to give them your ID number. That's how they're connected to you. I want you to imagine something for a minute. You go into an insurance office or a real estate office, and there's 5, and you're sitting around a conference, 5 of you there, and you say, this is something that you can use for your business. And I think what I'd like to do is just have you try it. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to load the SendOutCards app on your phone. They click on the App Store, you give them your ID, they put it on their phone. Now what are you going to have them do? What button are they going to click? No, they're going to click the send a free card button. Send a free card button. And when they click that button, it's going to take them to the app, and you're going to walk them through sending a card just the same way just exactly the same way that you would send a card on the app. Now, how do you know how to coach them on sending a card on the app? How do you know how to do that? Because you've done it yourself. Every day. It takes me 3 minutes, and every day I'm sending cards from my app to people that I care about. I put a picture, I go to Facebook, I grab pictures on Facebook, or I take pictures at events. In fact, I sent Gary Washburn a card while he was up here talking. Right from the app. It's so easy to do. And so, and there's some fun things that you could do. So here's the process. So here, I'm going to give you the steps. Step number 1. This should take you no more than 2 minutes. If you do a 20-minute talk, they're going to leave. You do a 2-minute how and why you got involved in the business. What are you excited about? Tell them how and why you got involved. Now, that does not mean selling them on SendOutCards. That means telling them how and why you got involved in the business. Even if, now check this out, even if you're not in the business, you know how and why you got here. Who's not in the business here? Raise your hand. How did you get here?
A person told me, my friend.
Your friend told you about it. And why did you come?
Because I respect her and trust her.
Because she respects her, trusts her. So her story starts, what's your name?
Jill.
Her story starts with, a friend invited me to a meeting, and the reason I went is because I trust her. And this is what I heard. Do you follow me? So that's the first thing you do. You tell them how and why you got involved. The second thing you do is you load the app on their phone. They load the app on their phone, and you coach them through sending a card. That's the second step. Tyler, how did you get here? Why your mom invited you, right? Why did you come? Because he likes it. He has a how and why story too. Yeah, so good job. Yeah. So you tell your how and why story, then you load the app on their phone, and I'm going to tell you what's going on right now. We launched this tool, which is the Send a Free Card tool on the app. We launched that has it been 3 weeks yet?
Barely.
I don't even know if it's been 3 weeks yet, and immediately our numbers, our customer recruiting numbers and our doubled immediately. And I'm finding out that most people aren't even using it yet. You're not using it yet, are you? See? I saw it. Yeah. Yeah, no, most people aren't even using it yet. That's just from the people that are using it. I'm going to tell you right now, those of you that embrace this technology, it's speed. It's speed for you. It's so simple too. It's like people today, if you go to somebody, it's not the typical network marketing thing. If you go to somebody and say, can I show you a really cool app? Load this on your phone and show them the app. That opens up the door, because as soon as you do that, they go, wow, this is cool. Then you show them the video. So the second step is to demo the app, have them send a card. Now, who do you have them send a card to? What do you think about them sending a card to themselves? No. Don't do that. Why? There's no connection. Remember, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have them do something that's gonna make a positive difference for them so they can really get it. In fact, a lot of the distributors I've signed up over the years, prior to having this tool with the smartphone, it was because I walked them through sending a card from the computer to someone they cared about. They didn't get it right away. when they sent the card, they go, I'm not really sure I get why you're so excited about this. But when the person receives the card, Tina Cartier's mom was dying of cancer. And Tina said to me, when I walked her through sending a card to her mom on the computer, she said to me, I don't get this. And then her mom got the card. And her mom called her in tears, and then she started crying, and then she called me the next day and said, I need to get in the business. Because she sent the card to her mom, she's a senior manager today. Senior manager. It's like, I don't know how many reps are in a group, but a lot. So that act of them sending the card to someone they care about, to their parents, to one of their kids, to their spouse, to a brother or sister, I always ask them, who do you know that you care about, that you know their home address? Because they got to know the home address. Who do you know that you care about? That's usually a parent, one of the kids, something like that.
Well, you have a lot of people you care about, but you don't necessarily know their home
But
address.
who do you know? If I asked you, who do you know that you care about, that you know their home address?
Well, I have a few people that
Yeah,
keep
of course.
my address,
Sure.
but you don't know, that's the thing.
But I'm going to ask you that
Yeah.
if I'm sitting down with you, that's the question I'm going to ask you. Like, who do you know that you know their home address? That's the question. Yeah. And then you tell me, and that's who you'll send the card to. And you probably have pictures of those people on your phone. That's another thing. So I'm going to have you grab a picture and put it on the card right from the phone. And I'm going to coach you through that, step by step. Now, when I signed up and sent out cards, guess how many addresses I had? Like, almost none. I had business cards that had addresses, some of them. So I put those in my system. But my goal, and this is key, what I'm going to tell you here, remember, it's related to those first three things I went over. I'm sharing with you things that will have a huge impact on your business. And if you're not in the business, if you join the business and do these things, it will make a huge impact on your life. My goal was to get 350 addresses of people I knew and get them into my system my first week. First week, 350. Why? Because I know meeting people, connecting people, and appreciating people. It has to start there. So I've got to get those in there. So how do you get 350? I'm talking about people that I knew. So I started going through my emails. And I went through the emails from the top, started emailing people. Hey, I need your mailing address. I need your mailing address. I'm updating my contact manager. What's your mailing address? I want to send you something. What's your mailing address? I'm updating my contact manager. Same thing, cut and paste. Blah, 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 blah. I started doing that. I started texting people on my phone. What's your mailing address? I'm updating my contact manager. This guy, I didn't bring it down. He came to my BNI meeting last week, and he's in the security alarm system business. Carpet cleaning business. And he gave me his business card. His name's Elliot. And yesterday I was sitting at the airport waiting to come here, and I looked on his card, and his address wasn't on there. What did I do? I texted him. I said, Elliot, what's your mailing address? I want to update my contact manager. And he immediately sent it back to me. So I put 350 people in. Now, I'm not just going to SendOutCards is a usable system. I'm not just going to put his address in. I'm not just going to put somebody's address in. I'm going to use it. So when I was first getting started, I got 350 people there. Every single person, send them a card, 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 send them a card. What did it say in the card? Remember, personal always wins out over creative. We didn't even have capability of doing creative back then. Because you could put a little picture in there and it took forever. So I would say, hey, Elliot, this is what I'd say back then. Hey, Gary, I haven't talked to you in a really long time. I hope you're doing great. Sure would love to get caught up sometime soon. Why don't you give me a call? And I put it in the card. So my goal was to fill the contact manager, all right? Now let's go back to this. I kind of got off track there. Let's go back to the system for showing it. So the first step is to do what? Tell them how and why you got involved. How long should that take? No more than 2 minutes. What's the second step? Load the app on the phone and coach them through sending a card. To who? Someone they care about, and they know their home address. Someone they care about. And what do you want to put in the card? Have them put in the card.
Something personal.
Something personal, like a picture. You want them to put a picture, preferably on the front of the card. They just grab the picture from their photos. So you do that. Now when they get to the page where it asks for the return address, the only difference between our app and their app is when they get to the page where it shows the return address, there's a place for a username and password. When they put that in there, guess what's going to happen? It's so cool. It's so great. They are now your customer forever. You have your account defaulted to, is it 2 cards or 3? Default, the default
The
setting.
default is
2 cards. Your account is defaulted to 2 cards, meaning they can send 2 cards for free on you. And then when they're ready to send their second card, or if they want to add a gift, guess what they have to do? They have to put in their credit card. And you get 20% every time they do it. You get 20%. And as soon as they hit that send button on the first card, you get an email with all their information, and it populates your contact manager with their contact. So you can immediately go in. Now what happens is all these things are happening all at once. Gary, his daughter's going to receive a card from him. He's going to be happy. His daughter's going to be happy. I'm going to now go to my system and send a card to Gary, thanking him for taking time. And I'm probably going to remember to take a selfie so I can put that on the front of the card. There's no network marketing company that has this kind of power, you guys. None. That has this kind of power to connect and appreciate like we do. And I've seen just in the past couple of weeks, now we haven't even been doing it for a month, I've seen the impact of this launch with very few people doing it, and the numbers have already doubled. It's unbelievable. This is going to be the beginning. In fact, I was sitting with Darla last night. It was like almost midnight last night, and we were both like, we were sitting out front on this little bench, and we were both like bouncing off the walls. We're so excited. I mean, she was telling me, what did you call it? You said it's kind of like a volcano. It's kind of like a volcano that's been smoking. It's getting ready to blow. And you know what? If you're not doing it right now, you're going to miss that explosion. You got to get on the, and doing it means what I'm talking about right now with people. Tell them how and why. Load the app on their phone. What's the third thing you do? What's the third thing you do? You're going to show them the video. You coach them through sending the, now what video? Well, there's a couple different videos that I'll tell you what I use. The video that I just showed you up here, that video, the 6-minute video, I'll show you where it is. You can do it on your phone. www.sendoutcards.com/your ID number. www.sendoutcards.com/your ID number. Scroll all the way to the bottom. This is the join. It's the join page. It's your landing page. Scroll all the way to the bottom, and it says income opportunity. It's a 6-minute video. So how long does it take you? How long does it take you to tell your how and why story?
2 minutes.
How long do you think it takes you for them to load the app on their phone and to send a card? How long does that take?
3 to 5.
3 to 5 minutes. Let's say 5. Now how far into you? Now you're 7 minutes in. How long is the video? 6 minutes. Now you're how many? 13 minutes in. You're 20 minutes in and out of this presentation. At that point, it's up to them. I mean, there's one other thing you do need to do. Okay? So I got to tell you some funny stories. So I'm all the time, like almost weekly, telling people www.sendoutcards.com/your ID number. That's where the video is, or that's where there's where the green join now button is. That's where you join, and that's on your phone or on your computer. On the app, by the way, there's a little button that says upgrade now, and you can show the options on there. It shows all the options, the upgrade now button on the app. And there's also an app demo. For those of you that are a little slower, maybe not as technical.
Over 45.
Over 45, there is a button that says, there's a demo button in the app. Right in the app, there's 3 little dots on the bottom. You click it, you'll see the demo at the bottom. Just click that, it's a little 2-minute demo, and it's phenomenal. It's really phenomenal. So, anyway, so I'm sending this out all the time, and so I send it out in an email that goes out to everybody. I have so many stories about that because I've got it. So I send it out, and I get this lady who's really mad, and she sends me this email about how upset she is because the link's not working. Because in the link it said www.sendoutcards.com/your ID number. She was clicking on that, and it wasn't working. And I had to explain to her, that's where you put in your ID number. When we started launching gifts, and I'll tell you my theory about this. When we started launching gifts and gift cards, I didn't care about anything else. I just wanted the company to have a $5 Starbucks card that I could send to people. Today we got hundreds of gifts, and we got lots of different gift card options. But when we first started coming out with gift cards, which was many, many years ago, there was an advertisement, and we didn't have a single gift card. Not one. There was an advertisement that I saw on the internet for a restaurant in a small town in Texas, and it was a Mexican restaurant. It was a gift card for a Mexican restaurant. It was a little video, and the video was these two hands, and they were making a taco. And the hands would take some meat and put it in there, and some cheese and some lettuce, and they squirt sour cream on there and squirt some guacamole on there, and then they take the taco and they put it in an envelope, and then the guy licks the envelope and closes it. The sour cream and the guacamole are squirting out of the sides of the envelope, you know. And I thought it was and then they stop all that, and then they put their gift card up, and that was their little advertisement for the gift card. You don't need to put right? You just buy the gift card. And it's one little restaurant in a small town in Texas. So I send that out to my entire team saying, a taste of what's to come. Well, I get this email in the middle of the night from a woman. It's not just the women that do this, because I have a theory about it, but I get this email. Really long email with documentation, like she had been researching the internet of how sending food in the mail will cause salmonella and how people will die. You know, I mean, I'm talking like paragraphs of how many people have died from salmonella. And also, SendOutCards needs to consider having more than one just gift card in one small town in Texas. You know, we're getting a gift card down in Texas. I don't live down there. I'll never go to that taco place. But here's my theory. Every time I hit the send button on one of my emails, because of the size of the team, it goes out to tens of thousands of people. And at any given moment, when you hit the send button, it's going out to tens of thousands of people. At any given moment, 1/10 of 1% of them are drunk off their I mean, they're like plastered. You know? 1/10 of 1%. No matter when you send it. And they're the ones that respond. That's all that's what's going on. That's how it works. So you show the video. All this takes less than 20 minutes. So when I text somebody and say, hey, I want to get together with you, I want to show you something really cool. So Elliot, the guy that I met at the BNI meeting the other night, I'm getting ready to send him a card. Actually, I put him in my system, but then I had to get on the plane. But I will send him a card before the end of the weekend. I'll send him a card just saying, hey, nice to meet you. I'll put a picture in there from our BNI meeting. I'll probably do it from the app, very likely. And then I'm going to text him. And the text is going to say, hey, I want to show you something really cool when we get together. It's something that will really help you in your business. Not going to sell them. I'm not going to talk about any of the stuff we talked about here, except that I'm going to walk them through sending a card to someone, tell them how and why I got involved in 2 minutes. I'm going to walk them through sending a card to someone that they care about, walk them through sending a card to someone he cares about. I'm going to show them the 6-minute video at www.sendoutcards.com/my ID number. And then the last thing I'll do is I'll go over the options. Now, I don't know if we still have, I have to try to turn that back on. And I don't know, for those of you that are, like, I don't know about you, how many of you can't, check this out. How many of you in the room, it was really bugging you that the screen was like this? Do you know what I'm talking about? Raise your hand. You know what I'm talking about? Now, how many of you didn't even notice? Raise your hand. How many of you it was bugging you? Me too. So about a third of you, it was bugging you because the screen was a little bit crooked at the top. Yeah. Let's see if that fixes it. Let's see if it fixes it. That's coming on. Is it better? We'll what?
You have to stay up there, Mary.
Yeah.
It's your OCD.
All right, hang on.
Yes, I know.
It's a little better. Can we bring the lights down just a little bit? Thanks. Okay. Oh, that's worse. That's